Hey guys, Clean Blade here, bringing another Pokemon TCG online deck profile. Before we jump into the deck, I want to say, sorry I haven't released a video lately. I was sick for a while there. I'm still kinda sick, but I'm good enough to release a video. Also, shoutouts to Wriggles for hooking me up with a deck idea. This is Round. This is a variation of his deck, so shoutouts to him. And yeah, let's just jump straight into the deck profile. So, we're running 3 Shaman EX. Shaman is just really solid in this deck. It just basically allows us to draw a ton, and it's super good because it's Shaman EX. Then we're running 1 Hoopa EX. Hoopa is surprisingly ridiculously strong in this deck, so he allows us to grab Shaman and Meloetta EX, which is basically everything that we could wish for out of Hoopa. So Hoopa just becomes a monster in this deck essentially, so Hoopa MVP for life. Then of course we're running 4 Meloetta EX. We only run Meloetta because she has Round, and we want more Pokemon with Round, so that's why we run Meloetta. It's just that strong. Then, jumping into our Seismitoad round line, we run 4 Time Pull of the new BreakPoint set, because it actually has Round now, which makes sense, and it actually makes the deck a lot stronger, because we have more Round Pokemon down on the bench. So, we run 4 Time Pull. We're only running 1 Palpitoad with Round, because we do run 4 Rare Candy in the deck, so we don't need like 2 or 3 Palpitoads, so we're just running the 1 Palpitoad with Round, plus it also adds consistency here and there, so just the 1 Palpitoad. Then we're running 4 Seismitoad EX, not EX, 4 Seismitoad with Round. It's just super strong, 30 times 30, it can add up to tons of damage. I've done 240 as our max damage, I do believe I have done, so yeah, we could basically KO anything in the game without really having to waste a lot of resources. All we gotta do is set up bench and attach a Silver Bangle, and we kill anything in the game. So it's just really, really strong at the moment. I feel like this deck is one of the more top tier decks. Well, not super top tier, probably tier 2-ish decks because of Round just hitting so hard. Jumping into the trainers though, we're running 1 Computer Surge. Search is just OP, so we run 1. Then we're running 3 Dive Ball, mostly because we can grab our Seismitoads and stuff like that off of Dive Ball, so yeah, Dive Ball just makes the deck way more consistent than if we didn't have Dive Ball. Then we're running 4 Rare Candy. Rare Candy is the MVP of the deck. We go turn 2 Seismitoad, set up, and basically win the game after that. If you don't get turn 2 Seismitoad, it's a little bit rougher, but usually you almost always get it, so there's really no struggling to get the turn 2 Seismitoad, so it just sets up and does a lot of damage early, and it basically wins you games that way. Then we are running 1 Sacred Ash. Sacred Ash just helps us get back Seismitoad, stuff like that, just in case we reverse things like Night March, Vespiquen, Flareon, who like to hit big numbers, and just so we trade 1 prize for 1 prize. This way we can out Pokemon them, if that makes sense, as long as they don't have Lysender for our Shamans and stuff like that. Then we're running 1 Switch. Switch is just kind of a staple, so we're just running the 1 Switch. Then we're running 2 Trainers Mail. I was running 3, but I decided to cut 1 for an extra Rare Candy. You could also just uncut a Rare Candy and run another Trainers Mail. I prefer the Rare Candy, this way I can discard a Rare Candy if I need it, something like that, along those lines. So that's why we're running the 2 Trainers Mail. Then I'm running 4 Ultra Ball. Ultra Ball breaks this deck. It allows you to Shaman, Hoopa, Seismitoad, and basically do whatever you want in the deck, and Ultra Ball is like super strong in this deck and almost every deck at this point, so we're running 4 Ultra Ball. Then we're running 3 VS Seeker. VS Seeker is just super strong at the moment, plus this is a kind of a heavy supporter deck, so that's why we're also running 3 VS Seeker. Now jumping into our supporters, we are running 2 Koras because we do run Skyfield for round attacks hitting more, so that's why we run the 2 Koras. Then we're running 1 Hex Maniac. Now we don't like Garbodors. They've stopped Shaman and Hoopa, and yeah, it's just a really big pain. Plus we don't like Wobbuffet because of the exact same reason. So Hex Maniac doesn't fix that problem, but it also allows us to be able to do something about that problem. If it were to occur, I guess you could say, we could Hex Maniac, kill a Wobbuffet, they could not have any more, and their abilities would be shut down, so they can't turbo, and it just sets us up for the next turn. Plus, Hexamaniac allows us to get around safeguards, stuff like that, even though that's usually not a problem, because we usually don't attack with Shaman, Hoopa, or Meloetta. but it's always nice to just have a Hex Maniac. Also, another big threat to this deck is Archeops, because it doesn't allow you to evolve, so Hex Maniac also gets around that, which is a huge plus for this deck. So that's the main reason why we run Hex Maniac in this deck. Then, moving on, we're running one Lysander. We don't need more than one. This deck isn't super aggressive, though it's aggressive, but we just need the one Lysander to basically control the game, essentially. So that's why we run the one. We run one N just because N's super powerful. You could either limit your opponent's hand size or gain a bunch of cards, essentially, off an N. So that's why we just run the one N. Then we're running one Birch, I want to say. Yeah, I do believe we are running one Birch. Birch is just solid. Mostly because Birch just allows us a little bit extra draw potential, though it's the flip, draw tails, 4, you know, it's just pretty bad that way, but if you draw heads, it's like a Sycamore, and Birch becomes an MVP then, essentially. So we just read the one Birch, then we're in 4 Sycamore. Sycamore is just top-notch, super good in this deck because we like to turbo and get Seismitoads out and start rounding as early as possible, so Sycamore's really good in this deck. Then we're running one Skyla. We were running 2 Skyla before. I didn't like the flow to Skyla. I think Skyla's a really slow card, so we cut one, added a Seismitoad for the Skyla, and I feel like it's a better balance, though. If you don't like that, you can always revert it back to 3 Seismitoad, 2 Skyla. It's all up to personal preference. Then, for our stadium, we're running 4 Skyfields. Skyfield's just really, really strong in this deck, allows us to hit for massive amounts of damage with Skyfield up, and it just becomes the MVP, essentially. Then, we run 1 Floatstone just for the retreats on Shaman, Hoopas, Meloettas, so that we can get Seismitoad into the active, stuff like that. So Floatstone's really key in this deck. Then we're running 2 Silver Bangle. This is so that we can hit 240 on Megas and stuff like that. So Silver Bangle is basically a necessity. We don't run Muscle Band because everything that would be affected by Muscle Band we usually KO anyways, so that's why we just run Silver Bangle. Now for our energies, we run 4 DCE and 2 Water Energies. We run such a low energy count because we're able to turbo through the deck so quickly. Now I want to say thank you guys so much for watching this deck profile. If you guys liked the deck profile, hit that thumbs up button down below. If you guys really liked it, go over, hit that subscribe button on my YouTube channel, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.